Welcome to this episode of Triforce 101. Triforce 101 is a series of lessons to help you get started with your Triforce experience. In this first lesson, we're going to help you get started with Trainingpeaks, in particular, setting up your calendar in Trainingpeaks. I'm going to show you, using my own Trainingpeaks account, how to do this. So first, find your name in the corner here. This is my coaching account, but this will be very similar to your athlete account. And from the drop down, we go to account settings. And so actually, before we go into the settings, you can see this is what my Trainingpeaks calendar looks like right now. We can see we have 2 weeks showing. It's a bit cluttered, and so I'll show you. It's probably, looks a bit like what your calendar looks like now. So the first thing we can change is our view. So for default view, I like to see my calendar. I like to see weeks. And actually right now we're showing 2 weeks, but I personally prefer just to see 1 week. So you may prefer 2, but I kind of like my calendar as uncluttered as possible. Calendar items, I like to see workouts. Trainingpeaks does have the option of logging meals, but I don't use that option. And if you want to, you can also show metrics such as your weight and various other metrics, but I don't use those either. You're welcome to use them. So show icons. Those are these little biker, swimmer, weightlifter guys. I like those. And something I think is very valuable for everyone to use is showing the week summary. So the week summary, you have your total time training for the week. Got your total yards. This just lets you see your totals for the week at a glance. So that's our overall view, and so after changing it from 1 week to 2, it's looking a little bit better. Still, I think a bit cluttered, a bit hard to deal with. So what we'll do now, so here are all the available things you can see on your calendar, and here are the ones that are being used now. So you can always click on your workout to see the details, but just in my calendar view, I don't like to see the description, so we'll get rid of that. Planned duration, that's good. Completed duration, how much time you actually trained, I like that. And so this actually, once we have your zones loaded into Trainingpeaks, completed intensity factor, that's one that I like to see. So intensity factor is what percent of a threshold effort you maintain during that workout. So I'd like to see, for example, right here, this was a 10K race. So for this, I was at 102% of threshold, which is, about right for that race. I like to look at that. You might not want to see that. And also post-activity comments, probably don't need to see that on your calendar. So now we've done a bit of decluttering, but there are other options here. You might want to see your distance. Some people like to see that. So we could do completed distance. Play around, see what you're comfortable with, what you enjoy seeing. But these are the options I prefer. So I'll apply these. You see our calendar is getting a lot less cluttered. And then finally, in the week summary options, you have in this area here, you have the option of what you'd like to see. So I just like to see fitness, duration by sport. Obviously, that's how much time you spent by each sport. Distance by sport, how many yards you swam, how many miles you biked. Total training stress score, that's something, training stress score is something we'll explain in a different episode of Triforce 101. Total amount of time trained for the week, So, play around with what you like to see, but I think it's very helpful to track how many yards you swam in a week, how many miles you ran in the week, how many hours you spent cycling, how many total hours you trained, and training stress score. Well, as we discuss in a later one, that's also a very valuable one to track. So that finalizes our calendar, but there's one other option you can use. It's a spreadsheet view. So there's title, description, post-activity comments. So all these fields are what I currently have in the spreadsheet view. So we can take a look at that as well. I don't really use the spreadsheet view all that often, but here under list, you can see your workouts in a bit of a spreadsheet format. You can see. And then one final thing, we've covered how to set up your calendar, but just one thing you might want to start playing with also with the Trainingpeaks Premium account. You also have access to this dashboard and the various charts that come along with it. So all these complicated charts we'll get to in a later episode, but they are related to your training stress score in the various swim, bike, and run. But there are also some. So I have so much training stress score that it's overwhelming the Trainingpeaks servers. Bear with us as we wait for Trainingpeaks to calculate all my training stress. But there are some simpler charts. Just this is week by week, hours, and month by month, hours spent training. So you can see I went from a peak of 82 hours in September to now I'm in the off season, a nice 32-hour month, although I still have some hours to log. I think I'll crack the 40 barrier. Also have hours biking per week and some other fun charts. Yards per week for swimming, miles per week in the running. You can see average miles per week over the last 365 days, just about 33 miles. Average yards per week, 8,200. Yep, so that's kind of summarizes how to get set up with your Trainingpeaks calendar. Also just introducing the charts. I kind of hope this helps you. I know Trainingpeaks can be a little bit overwhelming when you first open it, but once you have it a little bit uncluttered and you know how to focus on the important things, I think it's a pretty powerful website, and I hope we've taken the first steps in getting you comfortable with it. If you have any further questions about Trainingpeaks, or you have any Trainingpeaks questions or issues, definitely contact Trainingpeaks customer support. They're really good. They'll typically get back to you next business day, and they'll be able to give you a lot more help than I will be as far as using the Trainingpeaks site. But this is Coach Kevin Cody signing out.